multiple people have reached out to me to ask me if I can make a video to talk about this specific video released by Severance 병원 or Severance Hospital. And I'm always here for you. But I gotta say, when it comes to this type of content, absolutely yes. Severance Hospital released this video. 음악으로 전하는 위로, 민윤기 치료센터 이야기. So the full story behind 민윤기 Treatment Center, comfort expressed through music or delivered through music. And I gotta say, I'm super glad they came up with this content because you know how so many armies were so touched by this news that they started to create this fan art to imagine what it would have been actually like SUGA playing guitar to the children. And I was already super glad to see this. But then the video actually included some these beautiful images. And you know what? I'm going to do a full translation of this video. You know why? Because I could have simply talked about what the announcer here, and then what Kim Il-jung, that's his name, and what Professor Cheon has said about SUGA. But I think in this case, it's not just about BTS and it's not just about SUGA. It's more about this cause. And I think SUGA would also want his fans and BTS fans to pay attention to the cause that he's working for and helping out with. And then this video talks more about, this project and also the people and the patients that they're helping with. And it's got some information and details, and especially Professor Cheon's visions. So I decided to do the full translation because it's quite informative and helpful. Okay? But then, if this video that you're watching turns out to be longer than this video that I'm about to translate, like 22 minutes, that's because I'm gonna make my own commentary and comments to, add my own thoughts. Because I am personally touched by this project and what SUGA is doing. You know what? I'll talk more about it later. But here we go. Now, for those of you, especially international armies, who are not familiar with Severance 병원, Severance Hospital is one of Korea's oldest and most trusted hospitals, known for especially advanced treatment and medical research. And it's part of Yonsei University's top medical system in Seoul. Okay? And then also, I have briefly talked about Professor Cheon's background. So her full name is Cheon-geun. Here's her profile on the Severance Hospital website. And she's one of Korea's most respected child psychiatrists. And for decades, she's been helping children and teenagers with conditions like autism spectrum disorder, developmental disabilities, ADHD, and mood disorders. And she leads the child psychiatry department at Severance Hospital and also runs their special center for developmental and behavioral issues. And she trained at Yonsei University and did advanced research at places like NYU and the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, deep diving into how kids' brains work. And throughout her career, she has published important research and been a key leader in child psychiatry, both in Korea and internationally. That's how you would actually spell her name, Cheon-geun. And she actually believes in family-centered care. This means that she doesn't just treat the child. She also supports parents and siblings through their challenges. So she brings together the best scientific method with the truly caring and hands-on approach, and treats every patient as if they were her own family. And such impressive background is probably exactly why SUGA chose to collaborate with her, because his goal was to create a program that blends music with like personalized long-term therapy with for children with autism. So I think it's her deep expertise and dedication to both research and real-world care that made her the perfect partner for SUGA. All right, so here we go. Let's do this. All right, so Kim Il-jung, the announcer, starts off. Hello everyone, I'm Kim Il-jung, the announcer. Today I have some special news to share. It's about the new Min-yoongi Therapy Center being built at Severance Hospital. I hear this place offers a very special kind of therapy that helps children with developmental disabilities, especially those with autism spectrum disorder, express themselves and communicate with the world. At the heart of this special therapy is someone I've had a long and respectful relationship with. They're right here next to me. She's right here next to me. Professor Cheon. Welcome, Professor Cheon. And then Professor Cheon said, hello everyone, I'm Cheon, a professor in the Department of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry at Severance Hospital. It's truly wonderful to meet announcer Kim Il-jung again after such a long time. Announcer Kim. That's right, it's been a long time. We actually worked together for about a year on an EBS program called Parents, 부모. I'm also very honored to be here with you today for such a special occasion. And then this is a program that they worked together for. EBS, that's the educational program channel, TV channel in Korea. And here's Professor Cheon. And then here's Mr. Kim, the announcer. Okay, and then Mr. Kim continued on. I've heard that you strongly recommended me, didn't you? Professor Cheon said, yes, I strongly recommended you. For a year, we covered many cases, especially those involving autism patients, through the EBS Parents program. I remember that experience so vividly that I specifically insisted on having you join us. Announcer Kim. I'm truly honored. I heard today's event is very special. Professor Cheon. Yes, it's about the Min-yoongi Therapy Center. This center is actually a miraculous place that fulfills a dream that I have cherished in my heart for a long time. So I thought it would be wonderful to share this story with you, Announcer Kim. And she actually said, 기적 같은 center, miraculous place that fulfills a dream. Mr. Kim said, in particular, I heard that this space holds your long cherished dream, Professor. Professor said, yes, do you remember me telling you that my dream was to set up a self-reliance program at Severance Hospital before I left? As children grow up in the hospital and become adults, parents often ask, what should our child do now, Professor? Can our child live without me? What kind of job should they have? Will there be a place that will make efforts for children like ours? When I received these questions, I felt so much sorrow, and I thought it would be great to have a vocational rehabilitation program at our hospital. I have always dreamed of a system where children treated at our hospital could become independent, work, and earn money here. So I cautiously hope that the Min-yoongi Therapy Center or Treatment Center and the MIND program within Severance Hospital will be the catalyst for fulfilling this long-cherished dream of mine. Announcer Kim. I see. Since it's a space where our parents' earnest wishes and your long-cherished dream, Professor, come true, it feels like it's more than just a simple therapy center. So let's delve into what kind of place the Min-yoongi Therapy Center is. And he's asked what kind of therapy is provided here. And I just want to comment here. Throughout this video, they actually mentioned the name Min-yoongi 치료 Center a few times, like more than 7 times. And every time they do that, I just cannot help but smile, you know. Min-yoongi 치료 Center, that's such a beautiful name. Sounds beautiful. I don't, maybe that's just because I'm a big fan of SUGA, or I am, for the whole group, BTS. Professor Cheon said, this center was created thanks to the financial support and talent donation from Mr. SUGA. She said SUGA 씨 in a more respected way of saying Mr. SUGA, one of the members of the world-renowned artist group BTS. Here, we plan to comprehensively operate social skills training using music for children with autism spectrum disorder, along with vocational rehabilitation programs for self-reliance. It's a center with the aim of helping children who struggle to express their emotions or language, express themselves through the medium of music, and naturally interact with others. Another Kim. I see. So it's a therapy center with such profound meaning. We're now somewhat familiar with the term developmental disability, but I don't think many people actually know in detail what autism spectrum disorder refers to. What is developmental disability, and what are the characteristics of autism spectrum disorder, which is widely known among the general public? Professor Cheon, developmental disability is an umbrella term that includes children with delayed language, delayed motor development, delayed emotional development, cognitive development, and social development. Autism spectrum disorder, specifically, refers to children who have qualitatively impaired social skills. Many parents and even national organizations often say, "My child has a developmental disability," instead of "My child has autism," perhaps due to the somewhat prejudicial feeling associated with the term autism. While developmental disability is used idiomatically, I want to reiterate that it's not an official diagnosis. I am one of the experts who advocates that we shouldn't shy away from using the term autism. Therefore, I wish more people would directly call it autism spectrum disorder. One of the characteristics of autism spectrum disorder is that patients often have somewhat unusual or peculiar interests and repetitive behaviors. Unfortunately, there is still no cure for autism spectrum disorder in modern medicine. Therefore, early detection and early intervention are crucial for improving the prognosis. As a result, many experts, including myself, are currently developing various intervention programs and early screening programs for early intervention and detection through national projects. Announcer Kim. Listening to your explanation, Professor, I wonder what goals you have set for the Minyoongi Therapy Center for children with autism spectrum disorder. Professor Cheon. As the term spectrum suggests, children's severity varies greatly, and their symptoms change with age. Boys and girls are different, and the environment they are in and the parents they grow up with all require customized therapeutic approaches. This is what we call individualized, integrated treatment. At the Minyoongi Therapy Center, in line with the donor's intentions, we plan to offer various therapies, including social skills, training therapy with musical content, behavioral therapy, and language therapy. We are also planning multi-institutional collaborative research, both domestically and internationally, for clinical verification. Also, autism spectrum disorder cannot be treated solely by a child and adolescent psychiatrist. It requires the help of speech therapist, behavioral therapist, and clinical psychologist. So, various experts are collaborating on the treatment, which is called a multidisciplinary approach. Our center also plans to train therapists and provide direct training to therapists working in private institutions. Announcer Kim. I see. Then how will music as a tool be utilized for these children at the Minyoongi Therapy Center? I'm also curious about that. Professor? We instantly feel that things that cannot be expressed through language can be expressed through music, don't we? There's a validated program called the Social Skills Training Program. But that program was only for children with fluent language and a certain level of cognitive ability. Group therapy was difficult to start for children with lower functioning and limited language skills, but when we incorporated music into it, those language and cognitive limitations seemed to disappear. Those barriers didn't feel so significant. I experienced this directly. As I mentioned earlier, we will also conduct research using this musical therapy. Our center's goal is to create an integrated platform where music not only serves as a therapeutic tool, but also as a way for these children to develop self-reliance programs in the future. In doing so, we expect it to expand beyond just music to include various artistic fields like art and exercise. If these individuals can actively participate in professions and demonstrate their ability to truly achieve social independence and earn money, I believe it will contribute significantly to reducing social costs. Announcer Kim asked. Sorry, I just sipped water. Then I'm also curious about the different stages of this program, Professor Cheon. First, we need to individually improve their functions. Their language shouldn't remain in a non-verbal state, right? We will also actively enhance our language therapy programs to improve language. And of course, it will be good to improve their social skills as well. So that's the first stage. The second stage is the vocational rehabilitation phase, where we utilize the children's musical talents to form bands and establish a foundation for them to become somewhat socially independent. The third stage is to expand this to self-reliance and social participation. If children directly go on stage, perform, and receive applause from the audience, they will think, I can be a part of the society and play a role in moving people. The emotion that performing gives to the audience truly exists. So expanding to social participation is our goal. Mr. Kim asked, usually when we think of therapy, the first thing that comes to mind is drug therapy. But using music for therapy, I'm curious about how it can be utilized. Professor Cheon said, that's a good question. In fact, I also had that curiosity and doubt. As I mentioned earlier, for autism spectrum disorder, there are still no core therapeutic drugs developed in modern medicine worldwide. So, evidence-based treatments represented by ABT include behavioral modification therapy, language therapy, and social skills training therapy. These three are established treatments with evidence. The reality is that music therapy still needs more clinical evidence, but after studying it for this opportunity, I found that it's not quite so. Cochrane review, so it's a paper that analyzed 10 RCT studies involving 165 participants in a meta-analysis, showed that music therapy improved patient interaction, nonverbal communication skills, and parent-child relationships in patients with autism spectrum disorder. So our developed MIND program or MIND program was created with this aim in mind. You can think of it as incorporating musical content into our established and verified social skills training program, behavioral therapy, and language therapy. So why do we name it MIND or MIND? M stands for music, I for interaction, N for network, and D for diversity. We used MIND as an acronym with the aim of acknowledging differences and accepting each person as a unique individual. Our therapy team and BTS SUGA worked together on this treatment process. Mr. Kim says, I'm very curious about how the meeting between the world-renowned artist BTS SUGA or Min Yoongi and you came about. Great question. Professor Cheon said, Mr. SUGA has always shown great interest in child and adolescent mental health issues. Last November, Mr. SUGA came to me and expressed his intention to donate his musical talents. Actually, this slide includes a quotation by SUGA. So let me read this for you. So I think the title of the slide is says this: SUGA, who expanded his interest to include psychology, philosophy, and child-adolescent neuroscience, said, 저는 심리, 철학, 정신, 뇌를 공부한 후에 심리 상담 자격증을 따는 게 최종 목표인데 항상 이런 생각을 합니다. 도움이 되고 싶어서. My ultimate goal is to study psychology, philosophy, mental health, and the brain. Then earn a psychological counseling certificate. And I always think like this because I want to be helpful. And then the next slide says, anxiety and loneliness seem to be lifelong companions. I believe life is about constantly contemplating every moment. I want to say, I am also anxious, and so are you. So let's search and study together. What a beautiful quote by a beautiful man. All right. Professor Cheon continues. Yes, Severance Hospital operates as a hub hospital for developmental disabilities and also runs a behavioral development promotion center. Another reason might be that check this out. Another reason might be that I published a textbook on autism spectrum disorder last fall. So, Mr. SUGA, who had a lot of interest in developmental disabilities, autism spectrum disorder, and child and adolescent mental disorders, seems to have chosen Severance Hospital as his partner. I can never forget the first day we met. That day, Mr. SUGA had apparently read a significant portion of the textbook I wrote, which is nearly 500 pages long and quite thick. And here is the book that she has written. Yeah, looks super academic, 500 pages. And here's a link to the actual book, textbook, 500 pages long. And then let me briefly read you what this book is about. Here's an article about it. Professor Cheon is published textbook on autism spectrum disorder. Severance Hospital announced that Professor Cheon of their child and adolescent psychiatry department has published a textbook aimed at helping people understand autism spectrum disorder (ASD) more professionally. According to the hospital, this textbook is designed to benefit a wide audience, including ASD patients and their families, medical professionals who treat and research ASD, and even medical students and residents. The hospital notes that over the past decade, research on ASD has intensified globally due to changes in diagnostic criteria, increased prevalence, and greater public awareness. But the core cause and effective medications for treatments have yet to be discovered. The book is structured into 4 parts and 19 chapters, with contributions from Professor Cheon and 15 other authors. It offers a comprehensive look at ASD, covering diagnosis, causes, treatments, co-occurring conditions, and developmental stages throughout a person's life. The textbook also incorporates the latest research, including genetic and environmental factors, various treatment methods, and new technologies to provide a multifaceted understanding and approach to ASD. Professor Cheon stated, "As a clinician and brain science researcher, I feel a responsibility to discover the fundamental cause of autism spectrum disorder and development treatments that improve core symptoms." She added that she completed the textbook driven by this very calling. Wow. 19 chapters. 4 parts and 19 chapters. And this book is what SUGA read, apparently. So let's go back to the video. Right here. So she said, I still cannot forget, where are we? Sorry, give me 5 seconds. Yeah. Which is nearly 500 pages long and quite thick. Check this out. The questions he asked me were incredibly profound and sharp. So she just said that I can never forget the first day we met. That day, Mr. Suga had apparently read a significant portion of the textbook I wrote, which is nearly 500 pages long and quite thick. The questions he asked me were incredibly profound and sharp, which surprised me. Actually, when we first met that day, Mr. Suga first expressed his intention to donate his musical talent. I had doubts and worries about how we could implement Mr. Suga's good intentions and musical talent donation. But I was drawn by Mr. Suga's sincerity, and it led me to think about devising a new program. Ultimately, I believe that's how the MIND program came into existence. As I have observed Mr. Suga throughout the throughout the preparation and program execution, I have realized that he's truly not just a simple donor. 이분은 정말 단순한 기부자가 아니구나. He was never late throughout his program participation and even arrived earlier than me, practicing guitar and preparing in advance with the therapist. Seeing him come so early on a weekend to prepare for therapy deeply humbled me. 숙연해졌던 기억이 납니다. I can't forget Mr. Suga's happy expression as he genuinely tried to match the children's level and rhythm. He was clearly participating in the therapy with joy, finding it a time of great happiness and healing. All of our therapists were deeply moved by his sincerity. Can we just stop and just appreciate these photos? You know, I was gonna say in the beginning, Suga is the one member whom we didn't really hear from. We heard from the least during the military service era of BTS, right? But I think this news alone and this content, this video alone, or these photos alone, more than make up for it, for the gap that we as fans experienced. Oh man, look at his sincere smiles. All right, let's go back to the video. Yeah, I can't forget Mr. Suga's happy expression as he genuinely tried to match the children's level and rhythm. He was clearly participating in the therapy with joy, finding it a time of great happiness and healing. All of our therapists were deeply moved by his sincerity. Mr. Kim said, "So he came directly to you, Professor, and from that moment on, he's been involved with such sincerity. Mr. Min Yoongi even read all of your book. Do you know BTS songs well, Professor?" And Professor Cheon said, "Of course, BTS is a world-famous artist, so I knew them. I knew popular songs like Dynamite and Suga's Dechita. When I first met Suga, and these are basic information that they included on the slides about these two songs. When I first met Suga, he told me, 'Professor, isn't the leading cause of death among Korean youth suicide?' And that is indeed true, very unfortunately. In fact, for the past 13 years consecutively, the number one cause of death for adolescents is suicide. It says 4 out of 10 people feel stress. Yep. Korea is number one in some weird areas. Alright. He said he always felt he couldn't ignore that fact. Among Suga's songs, there's amygdala, which refers to the small almond-shaped area in the brain, and we talked about that in this video yesterday, right? I love that song. Sorry. He's fundamentally interested in the brain and has a strong awareness of how mental health, mind, emotions, and feelings operate within the brain. He also mentioned that he had a friend with a developmental disability and felt a strong need for social interest and support. Mr. Kim said, "So that's how the MIND program was created, right? But actually, SUGA is a world-renowned artist and was serving as a public service worker. His personal time must have been quite limited. How was he able to participate directly like this? Professor Cheon said, once the program officially started, he participated diligently every weekend without missing a single session and never being late. Mr. Kim said, I see. So this MIND program is more than just a musical activity. It's a sophisticated system that fosters children's emotional and social development. Then I'm curious about the specific ways Mr. SUGA interacted with the children. Professor Cheon said, we conducted the program for a total of 10 sessions, each lasting of almost 90 minutes. So that's a total of 900 minutes, right? There was one particularly impressive session. You know the song, To You, I Am, To Me, You Are, 너에게 난, 나에게 넌, from the movie 자전거 탄 풍경, also known as the classic. So it's a official soundtrack, OST. It's a very famous song, popular song that everyone, young and old, knows, Mr. Cheon said. He sang it once, and a child said, I know this song. So SUGA asked, how do you know this song? And the child replied, I listen to it every time I go camping with my dad. Then the child just sang along with a very loud voice. All of our therapists were happy and laughed. Man, ain't that sweet? Mr. Kim said, that's the power of music, I think. It transcends generations. Professor Cheon, that's exactly it. Everyone becomes happy and language becomes unnecessary. Isn't music what breaks down language barriers for people all over the world? True that. True that. There were instruments laid out. So she's explaining about the sessions, and here's SUGA with a hat on and a guitar. So there were instruments laid out, and he asked them choose the instruments they wanted. Some chose the handbell, some the xylophone, some the drum, and some the electronic drum. And some even brought their own preferred instruments like a small clarinet or saxophone. They chose various instruments and played together. At that time, Mr. SUGA would first say, you start and I'll match you. Hey, I love that. You start and I'll match you. 먼저 네가 시작해. 그럼 내가 맞출게. So this is what he said. He matched their rhythm, followed them, and adjusted to them. And there was a session where they wrote letters to someone else. He would softly play the guitar in the background, matching their either writing speed or reading speed. And the rhythm would speed up and slow down to match their words, allowing the children to experience the words and music coming together. Man. What's quite interesting is that we informed the parents that Mr. SUGA was participating as an assistant therapist and volunteer. But the children participated without knowing that their music teacher was Mr. SUGA. I definitely want to emphasize that they participated until the end without knowing that the guitar playing teacher was Mr. SUGA. That's great. In fact, I think some fans were especially impressed by the fact that the word never gotten out. All the people involved, including the, kids and the parents, never told, the public about it, right? That's why we just learned about this story yesterday. All right. Announcer Kim said, in fact, I think everyone knows that such a center would be difficult without financial backing. I heard that Mr. SUGA's donation played a huge role. Professor Cheon said, yes, because Mr. SUGA has always had such a strong interest in adolescent mental health. He increasingly felt the need to create a systematic treatment system and platform, a hardware, for children and adolescents as he communicated with me. So he gradually developed the desire to create a dedicated space, and he made a very significant financial contribution of 5 billion Korean won. Announcer Kim said, I'm hearing that amount for the first time. Is astonishing. And yes, 5 billion Korean won is about 10만, 100만, 1000만, 10억. 10만, 100만. So $3.675 million USD. Should I say this? You know how some haters, haters always hate, right? They say, oh, this is just another PR movement. And every time I see such comments, and there are some comments, most comments are very positive when the word has gotten out and there were articles written about it. But there are always haters. But I just want to say to them, do you think you can do this? You know what I'm saying? Of course, this, call it whatever you want, PR or whatever. But I just gotta say, not everyone can do this. All right, let's get back to this. Announcer Kim said that I'm hearing that amount for the first time. It's astonishing. He asked, what direction will this center take in the future? Professor Cheon said, we directly witnessed how children with autism spectrum disorder can connect with the world through the medium of music. This experience transformed my preconceived notions and doubts about this approach. So we plan to further clinically verify its effectiveness and will soon publish a manual. We also plan to write clinical papers. In fact, many of my subscribers actually work in the related fields and have written comments how this is already a proven approach, right? I always appreciate these great comments, informative comments that my subscribers write based on their experiences. So shout out to my subscribers. All right, back to this video. We will also expand into various art programs, including art and exercise, to help create diverse cultural and artistic professions. The Minyoongi Therapy Center aims to be a stepping stone for this. This fall, when the foliage is beautiful, we are planning a music camp. Mr. SUGA has consistently shown interest and expressed his willingness to continue supporting us and lend his strength. Therefore, we plan to continuously expand and advance this center. The Minyoongi Therapy Center is not just a treatment space. So this is Mr. Kim speaking. It's a place where our children take their first steps towards connecting with the world, and it's a beacon of hope for families. Every small change here transforms the lives of children and their families. At this very moment, music flows in our children's hearts and dreams are growing within it. We ask for your warm interest and support. Thank you. And Professor Cheon finished by saying thank you as well. Yeah, and then the video ends with a couple slides. So it introduced this song, The Last, from Yoongi's mixtape, August D. So The Last and Amygdala were the two songs that I talked about in this video, right? And in this, the slide says, The Last, August D. SUGA released on August 16, 2016, a song that frankly captures SUGA's personal journey of overcoming depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, social phobia, and psychological pressure. And then, here we go. So, in SUGA's mixtape, August D, the track The Last contains the lyrics. A popular idol rapper, but behind that, there's a weak self, depression, obsession, sometimes they strike again. And then, a time when it was difficult because the story in my heart couldn't be conveyed. When I wanted to connect with someone but couldn't reach them, that moment resembles the loneliness experienced by children with autism spectrum disorder. 마음속의 이야기가 전해지지 않아 힘들었던 시간. 누군가와 연결되고 싶었지만 닿지 않았던 그 순간이 자폐 스펙트럼 장애 아이들이 겪는 외로움과 닮아 있다. That's why SUGA established the Minyoongi Therapy Center and says this. I believe that music goes beyond simple sound and can be a channel to express feelings and connect with the world. I want to be that channel that connects more children to the world. SUGA, Minyoongi. What a great video that they came up with. I mean, such project deserves an explanation to tell us more about the story and more about this whole, project, program, and more about this cause that they're working for. So I really appreciated that they made this video. So thanks to all the staff involved. And let me read you some of these comments that people wrote on this video. This one. Alright, many of them are in Korean. 내가 방탄에게 쓴 돈이 후회가 안 되는 건 이렇게 좋은 방향으로 순환이 되기 때문에 후회 없고 방탄을 사랑한 게 단 한 번도 후회 없이 적절했어. The money I spent on BTS, I don't regret it because it's being circulated in such a good way. I have never regretted loving BTS. My fandom has been completely without regrets. Damn. The world couldn't be an adult for teenage SUGA. But now that he's an adult, what he chose in the end is kindness towards the very world that was cruel to him. He decided to become a true adult for growing children. Teenage SUGA must have needed an adult like SUGA back then. Teenage SUGA would be so happy to see this now. Wow. I am a mother raising a child with autism spectrum disorder and a fan, ARMY, who was eagerly awaiting Min Yoongi's public service discharge. To receive such wonderful news following his discharge announcement, I'm so happy my tears won't stop. Every day, I raise my child with the hope that even one more of the pains and difficulties they feel can be lessened and that they can experience joy and happiness in life. There are many times when I feel isolated and tormented because I don't get understanding from others, but I have been encouraged to keep trying to send my child out into society with pride. I'm also looking forward to the future activities of the Min Yoongi Therapy Center. Thank you so much. This is beautiful, isn't it? Wow, so this was Min Yoongi's goal. He's been talking for over 10 years about how much strength music gave him, and he said he got interested in psychology to help people who went through tough times like he did. Now, he's combining his greatest loves, music and his passion for psychology, to enrich the lives of the most precious and vulnerable people in our society. You really worked so hard. The news of the 5 billion won donation was surprising enough, but learning it was for a specialized center for children with autism spectrum disorder deepened my gratitude even more. As a special education teacher, I have always felt that this field lacks attention and support, so it resonated even more deeply with me. Our children find it hard to catch up if they miss crucial educational periods. So I'm truly grateful for taking the initiative and providing such significant help. This morning, after seeing the news, my commute to meet the children felt much lighter. Thank you so much. Yeah. This is so sweet. Let me read this one too. I'm a high school ARMY who has received a lot of comfort from him, not as an idol, but as a person. Going through dark days when I couldn't see the way forward due to a sudden, rare, incurable disease, until I could accept myself and love myself again. In every one of those moments, his sincere words, warm comfort, and music filled with life stories gave me great strength. I naturally came to like him, and by following his path, I learned and received much comfort. So when I heard this news, for some reason, I couldn't stop crying. Especially as someone who was truly saved by music and sincerity, I cried so much. I earnestly hope that this warm gesture will bring great comfort and help to patients and families who are perhaps in even more difficult and marginalized circumstances now. Professor, thank you for creating such a good medical environment for patients with autism spectrum disorder. And Yoongi Oppa, thank you for genuinely joining this journey. I truly respect both of you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sincerely grateful. I sincerely wish you both good health, and above all, happiness. Man, aren't we proud to become part of this fandom and proud to be fans of this beautiful group, BTS? Okay, and then let me read you some of these comments on this video that I uploaded yesterday. Oh, yeah, I pinned this comment who said, even though it's a small and humble effort, instead of feeling shy, I proudly signed up for a regular donation, doing this alongside Yoongi. Apparently, a donation fund for the Minungi Therapy Center has been created. If anyone else is interested, I hope you will join in this good cause with us. I'm incredibly proud of Yoongi, and I attached a link to it. And like I said in the beginning, over 200 million won was donated from the armies. And I know a lot of people have asked me if they can donate from, internationally. And apparently a lot of people have reached out to the hospital about it. And I also sent them an email and actually called them. So they're coming up with a way. So they're setting up a system. So if there's an update, I'll tell you about it. Maybe make a separate video. I'll do something. Okay. But yeah, this is great. As an autistic army, I say bless you, Yoongi. Music and artists for healing. They really should bring back the slogan. It's such a foundation for BTS. I like the slogan right now. We believe in music. That's a slogan for HYBE, right? I have worked for 25 years in special education and students with autism. I have seen many students benefit from music therapy. This is amazing and way to go, Minungi. I own a clinic that provides interventions for children with autism and their families. What SUGA is doing to add music to the interventions is proven in the research to support language development. I was part of a research study that showed doing rhythm and melody training activities with preschool children had a positive effect on literacy development. I'm going to be really interested in their research findings since they are being so intentional about focusing on using music with their interventions. I expect this will contribute to improving ASD interventions worldwide. Yep. Anybody who questions that Minungi is a man of integrity, love, generosity, and truly trying to fulfill his purpose on earth, endowed in him by the creator, has nothing else to say. Those who funded those... yeah, I'm not gonna read this. There are always gonna be haters. So let them hate, but let us love and let us enjoy this journey that we are walking with the people we love. All right, so I hope this video was informative, and I was gonna say in the beginning that I'm personally touched by this news because did I say this? I have personally lost a few friends due to mental issues. So I, just like SUGA, I also have academic interest in like psychology, philosophy, neuroscience, and psychology. And I really hope that this center that he has built in collaboration with Professor Cheon and Severance Hospital really turns out to be super productive, and then gives out great results and great outcomes for these children that they're helping, and then makes some phenomenal contributions to the world. All right, feel free to leave comments and communicate with each other, and as always, let's stay positive, respectful, and classy. Thank you guys. Peace and love. Bye bye.